to a Roddenberry podcast.
It's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's almost end of the year time, and it's time for Mission Log Live. Howdy, folks. Good evening. I'm Norman Lau.
And I'm Holly Amos, and tonight we'll be discussing Star Trek Discovery Season 4, Episode 6, Stormy Weather. So get your questions in. Wow, Christmas has really messed me up.
Right in there.
Get your questions and comments ready. Give us a call. You know how to do it. Click the Zoom meeting link or use the one tap on your smartphone or call us at 699-900-6833. You will enter the meeting code and the password on your screen, and then you will be in the Earl Green room.
So, happy after Christmas. If you celebrated Christmas, everybody, happy after Christmas, Holly.
Thank you. Happy after post-Christmas to you too.
Yeah, post-Christmas, after Christmas, post-Christmas.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. So did you have a holly jolly Christmas?
I had, I made do with the current circumstances of the state, country
that we're in,
world. Yeah. Right. I went and saw my parents for a couple of hours, but sat in the backyard.
I saw Bob. Bob's in the chat, so he can attest to that.
I sat in the back for a very short amount of time, and then I came home because my parents live in the Inland Empire, and I'm in LA, and LA is a little bit worse for wear right now. And I'm in Long Beach, and we do have community spread of the new variant, so I was not terribly comfortable spending too much time, and definitely not inside the house. So saw them for a couple of hours and then came home and then saw another friend on Christmas Day and made soup because it was a very soup day.
You guys have been getting a lot of rain.
It's still raining. It was raining today too. I love it. I love the rain. So I'm okay with it. And certainly our mountains are having a white Christmas. So if that's what they enjoy, good for them. I don't like snow, but
yeah, I'm sure Arrowhead and up there, they're getting a lot of powder.
Yeah. Powder. So I guess it'll maybe be a good ski season for folks that enjoy skiing.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Or just hanging out in ski lodges and making soup.
But Florida, you guys are in the 80s.
Yeah. Florida. I think it may have been Earl or BC. They sent me a chat on Discord and they said, hey, Norm, be careful out there. Cause Florida is just, when we embrace something, we do things really well. And we really want to compete and get the top spot in things. So this week we've been trying to outdo our COVID numbers every day. And, you have to have goals. So I'm proud of the fact that Florida is, overachieving in that respect. I have not lost my California sense of sarcasm, as you can tell. But aside from all that, we're barreling straight ahead into the new year. New Year's happening this Saturday. That would be December 31st. And let's say hello to all the fun folks in chat. I was really excited because we had a double Paul position, I should say. So we had Paul 1, Paul 2, and then your pops showed up. So hi, Bob. Hi, Pauls. We have Scott in here, and let's scroll down. Hey, Sam, how you doing? Good to have you here. Hi, Jane. I really want either John or I to have kind of the magic mirror, from Romper Room. So when we're saying these names, we look through the mirror like they used to. Am I dating myself? I think I am. Dave DeCatchy was up there. Alan Simonis. I'm just kidding. I know your name, Alan. Alan. Cat Mike, what's up, man? And thank you, Earl, for posting the numbers once again, so we can get some callers in here because I know that you have a lot to say. John Arminio is here. A little sad not seeing the Coolie because everyone says Coolie in the chat when Coolie shows up, right?
Well, there's too many Johns, right?
You
have to call it that's why I called John Champion. I call him Champion. There has to be some distinguishing. Between all the Johns that are involved in the Star Trek franchise, there's too many of them.
And if you take it one letter, it's John C. You have Champion and Cooley.
Well, but then there's John Van Sitters at CBS, so everybody calls him JVC.
JVC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He must have loved the 80s when JVC was big, right? Maybe not. I don't know.
Those are my speakers.
Exactly. That's my Betamax. That's right. I dated myself again. Speaking of dates, we have a lot of stuff come up here on Mission Log. Actually, we have a lot of stuff to talk about Mission Log. Not a lot of stuff coming up because this is our holiday break. So this Thursday, we won't have a show dropping on Thursday, which means we won't have an After Dark dropping that we have on our Discord channel and Patreon. So Thursday is holiday. We're taking the day off. Mission Log Engage, we're also taking the week off because we need a break. You know,
can.
And we can. And we've had some great discussions there. So if you want to check that out, you can go to the Roddenberry Entertainment channel on YouTube. Hit your subscribe button. The algorithm takes care of the rest. I'm sure you read about this news, Holly. Big news in the land of Discovery. News. Big news. Yeah. Big hiatus.
Yeah. Which is news to everybody. They came up with that in the last 2 weeks.
When that popped up, we were like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they're just trying to get back on track for all of the delays that have happened due to COVID. And it feels like there might be a delay in Strange New Worlds, which was supposed to be February. Mm-hmm. So I feel like maybe that's going to get pushed back, and they've pushed. Listen, it's fine. It's just unexpected.
It is what it is. Yeah. But there was a really just out of nowhere, that really beautiful shot of Captain Burnham. And then we're going to be on break. Hiatus.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, what a good shot of her. And then I was like, oh, you're going on break. Okay.
To soften the blow. So that's the big news for Discovery. So we're going to be on break. Mission Log is going to be taking, or I should say Mission Log Live is going to be taking a break as Discovery is taking their break. However, on the good news, starting off the season right, or starting off the new year right, we're going to be having a very special supplemental the very first week of January for Mission Log Prodigy. You don't want to miss this. I guarantee, as some guy in a commercial said, I guarantee. I don't remember that commercial, so I'm not going to date myself on that one.
Do you know what commercial that was?
Oh yeah, it's what is it? I don't know.
Men's Warehouse.
Is that it? Is that Men's Warehouse?
Guarantee it. Yeah.
Wait, it's okay. So I was like, it's you're gonna like the way you look.
Yeah.
I guarantee, right? That guy
is that?
Oh, it's Total Smoker's voice. Yeah, it's total.
Okay, but he's not taking drags in the commercial.
No, but you can literally see the smoke fumes coming off of the wardrobe that he just took out of the warehouse. So yeah.
Wow, we're really
any suits you want. Yeah, I know. But this is the end of the year. We're having fun. Right? I'm also probably over caffeinated, which I usually am at around 10:15 at night, 10 at night. Okay, so we have the hiatus for Mission Log Live. We have the hiatus for Discovery. We have the return of Prodigy. And of course, we have Mission Log Orville, where Mike and Jessica are continuing their quantum drive through seasons 1 and 2, heading towards March 20th, 2022, because that's when Mission Log, the Orville, will be covering season 3 of the Orville on Hulu. So when it returns, finally, after 4 years or something like that, or 2 years.
Them going from essentially one channel to another, it's not surprising that there's a huge lull in between.
That's crazy. Paul Wright says on So Behind on Orville, dude, it's been 4 years. Let's get with it.
You've had some time to catch up, sir.
Yeah.
I feel like this is your fault.
Carlos says a very special supplemental, the one where John learns not to eat plomeek soup on an empty stomach. Okay. Am I missing something there? Did I miss something?
No.
Carlos, is that an inside joke? Did you make him plomeek soup and soup and he didn't like it? I don't know. You never know. All right.
Is he angry? Is he gonna throw it?
Yeah, throw it at the wall.
Yeah.
Which episode was that? That's when Spock. Was that a mock time?
Yeah.
He threw it at Chapel, right?
Yeah, he's upset. Nice. He started to go through puberty.
Oh.
Vulcan puberty, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I mean, I get angry too. It's fine.
Yeah. Do you throw soup at people?
No. I don't recall ever throwing soup at people.
Okay, just checking, because we know you like soup. All right, so that's all the house cleaning for today, except for the ad breaks. You're going to stick around for the ad breaks. So we have something very special to say. I really mean that. That's actually kind of serious, because it's a very good cause, and we're going to get to that around 7:30, 10:30. What do you say we do a recap? Should we do a recap?
Let's try.
I know.
How long is it this week?
It's short, because there was a lot of stuff going on in this episode, but a lot of empty space type stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The void.
I had to fill in the voids of
the
synopsis in a way. So let's get to it. All right. Star Trek Discovery, Season 4, Episode 6, Stormy Weather. Inspired by the Laloji orb, he briefly remarks that it's his estranged father, then quickly pivots to discussing the subspace rift left behind from the most recent DMA encounter. Burnham informs him that Admiral Vance has requested Discovery to investigate. Later on their way to the bridge, Burnham and Saru review previous rift data collected by the Enterprise and Voyager to prepare them for their impending and quite literally turbulent mission. As they turbo lift to the bridge, Burnham and Zora share niceties as she explains to Saru that Zora is currently experiencing new emotional developments. Upon arrival, Burnham orders all hands to their stations, including Adira, who has to cut their gaming time short with Gray, who excitedly shoos them off to their new duty assignment. No turbulence, no sound, censored it, analyzing. Burnham sends out a dot to investigate further, but it disintegrates shortly after reaching about 5,000 meters. The Uncle wants their collective talents to solve too important fact-finding mission. Even a very restless book arrives in engineering to help Stamets boost the ship's power and shields. Meanwhile, Gray, also wanting to help in whatever way possible, keeps Zora company and observes that the computer is overwhelmed with its responsibilities to the ship and the emotional impact of this stressful situation. After exhausting all possible scientific options, Burnham believes that leaving the void is the best one. Book commands the mycelial network to jump and is hit by a power surge, causing him to hallucinate a vision of his estranged father, who refers to Book by his given name, Terex. Stamets escorts Book to sickbay, where Dr. Culber's examinations reveal that Book's brain contains residual energy signatures that may be the key to finding their way out of the void. Meanwhile, Gray continues to forge a deeper connection with Zora while gaming together in the lounge. Gray can feel that Zora is distracted between maintaining the ship's systems and the emotional stresses due to the increasing pressure from being in the void. In fact, Zora is the key to escaping the void, needs Captain Scott. Burnham that Zora is experiencing emotional trauma related to Ensign Cortez's death. Zora confirms this as well and fears that as the ship's computer has lost the captain's trust. Back in sickbay, Book hashes out more of he and his father's past as his father calls him a coward instead of embracing his Quajan hunter's instincts. He has instead become dependent on Burnham's orders, which is not the Quajan way. As the bridge crew continues to sift through all possible options to escape the void, in sickbay, Stamets discovers Book's hallucination that only exist for the greater, that the DMA came from outside of known Federation space. Using this residual energy to find the greatest concentration of these particles in the void, Bryce uses 20th century style sonar dynamics to ping the source. However, it would take too long for Discovery to reach that source before shields failed, exposing the ship to hull breaching temperatures. Burnham knows that there is only one way to safeguard her crew to reach the void's exit portal, to store all their digital selves in the transporter's pattern buffer. Once all of the crew have been stored, Burnham activates her encounter suit and has Zora guide them out of the void. As the shields begin to fail, as the hull begins to disintegrate, and as the bridge becomes engulfed in flames, Burnham begins to fade, and before completely passing out, she bolsters Zora's confidence one last time to protect all of them and to get them to safety and home. Awakening in sickbay, Burnham is beyond relieved to see that she and her entire crew made it out alive, thanks to Zora. Later, while watching Discovery undergo repairs, Saru and Book share a personal moment, reflecting on their respective emotional turmoil that for Book will be a difficult road ahead to overcome, but a worthy one. But not all was lost from the failed mission. Stamets was able to collect the data they needed from Dr. Culber's tests after Book was struck by the energy surge. Finally, in a moment of privacy and reflection, Burnham encourages Zora to create a family tree of her own, and as she does, Burnham observes that Zora's tree is filled with the faces of every crew member of Discovery, Zora's family. The end.
Aww.
Snip, snap, done.
Yeah,
and now we can get to the good stuff.
Pretty short.
Well, there was a lot of just, teching the tech type stuff,
Technobabble.
Yeah, technobabble, right. So before we get into our callers, let's take a look at some of our observations. You have some really great ones here. So did you like this episode?
They're just random bullets. I think it's so funny to compare. I wish everybody could see our notes because they're so funny. Yours are like full sentences and mine are just like,
no. Like literally, if you take your notes and just kind of like, butt them up one against another, it's a paragraph. That's all.
One of my notes here, you guys, is no robot friend because the dot disintegrates and it sounds like he was screaming.
It's screaming. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? Such trauma in Discovery, such trauma.
I very strangely, like, I feel like I have a lot of emotions attached to inanimate objects. I do in regular life and I do for this because that and Zora, I was like, oh, they're not even real, and I feel bad.
But yeah, the Zora is becoming, it's like the more the computer becomes sentient, the more like Discovery, the ship becomes like that nth part of the crew, and when your ship gets destroyed, it hurts, because you fall in love with the ship too. I really liked this whole line of dialogue with, in this case, this was a conversation between Michael Burnham and Zora, but you can see this kind of happening between like Kirk and Spock, or say Picard and Data, or say like Janeway and the Doctor. It's basically like the captain and that fish out of crew character that we all kind of like gravitate towards. Burnham says, you're talking about logic. I'm talking about feelings. And coming from Burnham, that's interesting. It can be very uncomfortable to accept the truth that some things are beyond our control, but we have to. Otherwise, we run into the same walls over and over and over again, or we freeze up. Either way, we don't move forward. Understand? I really like that. Was very Star Trek of a moment, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think that there's an interesting parallel between Zora sort of gaining sentience and emotions, and especially in terms of her sort of like freezing up and admitting that she's scared and like kind of not being able to. I mean, eventually she can, but at some point she's like, I don't know if I can like control my like function the way that I'm supposed to and do my job essentially. In Generations, when Data has the emotion ship, it's very similar. So I think it was that the computer essentially becoming a character is great. I think it's such an interesting turn of events.
Yeah. And you always want to have like that additional character that you can like bounce the human condition off of. And I think that we're getting that, in Zora, which I think is really interesting. A couple more points here to bring up, before we get into our first caller, which is Paul. Paul, you're really pole positioning it today, man. So I appreciate that. I really like seeing a lot more of the bridge crew coming together to do stuff. I loved like when Nilsson and Bryce and Reese, like everybody, like OO and Detmer, like Detmer doing the math stuff, and like OO
Detmer's
like,
math ability is like psychotic. Like,
yeah, she just like boom, right?
She's like 2.5 seconds. I'm like, what? Yeah, but the team problem solving is lovely, and I think that obviously like that's important just in life. It's important in your job. Doesn't matter what century you're in, but
yeah,
I think that the problem solving as a team has been a silver lining in Star Trek in its entire existence. So yeah. I liked that that's something that we saw in this episode.
I mean, it's nice to have just like that inclusion, like even in TOS or any of the other series, like when you rarely get to see the bridge crew like come together and work together and solve a problem. It's like you're there in that moment. You could be like hanging out by like a turbo lift door, but like, yeah, look at my crew go. These guys are awesome. They're going to save the day.
To see like lesser used characters. I remember in TNG always being really excited when they would use Miles O'Brien. Obviously, O'Brien went on to star in Deep Space Nine, and we got to see him basically every episode. But he was, a lesser used character, and I was always very excited when he got to be part of it was usually something with the transporter, which was all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's like if they didn't use the D's pattern buffers, for this mission, or else people would have been in trouble, big time.
Well, they would have split in two. Everybody would have had a twin, right?
Right.
Like Riker.
That's right. Okay.
Second chances.
That's a rabbit hole. That's rabbit hole.
That is rabbit hole.
And we're gonna have to get out of the void. Somebody ping me with some sonar.
there was a good reference in here to the TNG episode Relics when they're talking about, there's precedence for, people staying in the pattern buffer for a very long time.
Oh yeah, that totally popped up. I was like,
that's Scotty. That's 100. Yeah. I was like, oh, they're talking about Scotty. So yeah, that was a very well hidden, deep cut, I feel like, because it's the computer just sort of in passing throwing this piece of information out there. But I was like, oh, that's a reference.
Good when you know, and you don't really have to. I mean,
you don't have to know is the great thing.
But when you know, you're just like, oh, did they go there? They went there, which is cool, right? Speaking of going there, let's go there. Let's go there with Paul Harveth. Hello, my friend. Happy after Christmas, post Christmas.
Happy after Christmas.
Oh, look at Tendy's festive hat.
She is very, very festive.
She was festive last week too.
Yeah,
love it.
It's an experiment to see who notices actually, Holly. So,
I noticed it. My mom sent me a picture of a cutout of Chris Pine, and it was a Chris Pine tree, and he was decorated. And
that was awesome. I saw that on Facebook.
I have that cutout literally sitting behind my couch. I'm sitting on my couch, so it's right behind me.
No, it's not. You're on the Enterprise, or you're somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, I'm on the Discovery.
Disco.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah. So my Christmas present for this episode, I'm just so emotionally distraught that Julianne Grossman is no longer the computer. That's the one that's just crushing me. But
you don't like Annabelle Waller?
I love Julie Grossman because she was on this show, and she is so amazing. She's an amazing human being.
Extremely talented.
But I hope that all was done in a good way. Anyway, is when I first watched it, it was like, it was like, and then somebody just said on the chat here, it's like a bottle episode. And I guess that's sort of true, but the more you thought about it, your reference to the teamwork is absolutely key to this episode. I think it brings so many new players into the fold. But once again, they had the hero shot of Burnham walking in her space costume, and I can just hear the naysayers going, "Yeah, it's Burnham again."
So it's about Burnham. I thought that when I saw her. I mean, because she's walking in slow motion, right? I was like, oh, there's going to be people that are always like, it's always her. Like everything revolves around her. I'm like, well, she's the main character of the show.
But the other gem I pulled out of it is there's two meanings to book holding a grudge.
Hey.
Good one, Paul. I beat Alan to that one.
Yeah, he's so angry right now. He's like, how dare, don't hold a grudge against Paul.
Oh, that's so funny. I think Saru is the shining star of the show, has been, and is the true Trek character that's just had it the entire way through the beginning all the way till now. He's just such a shining example of how he's bottled up the emotion and in his leadership roles, especially as mad as he could be about things. And he said it towards the end of his conversation with Book. I just find him to be an exemplary written character and just well acted. Doug Jones is just so good. So there's a lot of little highlights that sort of pop out. The Cellular network failure. Hopefully that's continues, so we aren't using that as a quickie out.
I'm wondering do you think they're writing the kind of like the end of the network with this void in the DMA?
Well, I mean, if they do, they're not going to be able to jump anymore. And I feel like that's a huge part of Discovery being so useful to the Federation, especially given that technically, Tarek came on board last week and was like, oh, it's like walking onto an antique. So like the Discovery is very old. And the only thing that really has going for it is being able to jump in the mycelial network. So like, I hope that I genuinely think it's just a problem because they were in the void. Because he even says, Stamets even says, like, this is what it's like in the void.
So it was like his brain on, like the brain on drugs. Like, this is your brain on drugs.
Yeah. So as soon as they get out of there, hopefully it's the same as it was. I don't know. We'll see.
Analytically, I mean, if so, you assume that this void's actions are permanent, right? So
are you assuming that?
Well, the planet's gone.
Sure. Okay.
And so if it's wiping out mycellular networks, unless they grow back because all the little tardigrades get busy,
right.
Who knows? But it just might take you different places. It may be an abbreviated network, but hats off to Book for trying to fly it amongst that nothingness. I knew that was going nowhere. I didn't know I was going to send him to the the ER or whatever. But His father's interesting, isn't it? That whole
It
relationship.
sent him to therapy is what it did.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, honestly, because where's that going to go? Like all of a sudden, like he's talking about his dad at the beginning of the episode, and then there he is, and it's like, hey, your dad's like, it was. I mean, the conversation kind of like did, walk the nice edge as being a little sexist. He's like, don't let this woman string you around. You're a manhunter, boy. Like get back to manhunting. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Really?
Did you get the idea that he knew who he was looking for or not? I mean, that's sort of when I first heard that conversation, I was wondering, does his dad know who he's looking for already? I mean, is there somebody out there who's really caused this grudge for him probably to name his cat Grudge? Who knows, right?
Well, are we assuming that he is truly hallucinating his father, or is he seeing his father essentially as a ghost in the afterlife, which is something that he mentioned towards the end of the episode, is like, if you're basically afterlife, that means that Leto and everybody else are not gone, they're not ever truly gone. So right. I think that the perspective is different depending on which way you look at it. If you look at it in terms of it being a hallucination, it's almost like he was dreaming, right? So like everything that his father says to him is something that is subconsciously within himself. So is he calling himself a coward? Is he calling himself out on these things?
It's like those conversations that you have with yourself in in a closed room, like those scenarios and dramas. You're talking to yourself,
or when you get old, when you have them just out and about, you just start talking to yourself, Norman.
Also true. I admit nothing, but I understand what you're saying.
As old as I am, I'm just used to it. What was I? Oh, never mind. I'm just talking to. I'm not even bothered talking to the cat anymore. It's just me.
I always think about it subconsciously as having a dream. Like I had a friend that was telling me about a dream that she had the other night, and it was somebody was being really mean to her in the dream. And then I was like, wow, your subconscious you're really mean to yourself. Like I always think of the dreams that people have and whether or not they're like being cruel to themselves.
Wait till you get older, Holly.
I think what happened in the book is that when he got hit by the surge, I think the mycelial network started creating kind of like these after images that still exist, because we're going into that whole, quantum singularity, quantum, fluctuation type of thing where you go.
So do you think that these are conversations that he had with his father when it couldn't have been because he hadn't seen his father since he met Michael, right?
Yeah. And she didn't know who Michael was. I mean,
or
dad.
Conversations from a completely different parallel universe or, something that exists outside of time space because of the mycelial network is askew.
Maybe.
I just want to point out something before we turn to Alan. I don't want to take up too much time here. First of all, cheers and a happy new year to everybody.
Oh,
thank
you. To you, man.
Thank you for a great year and getting us through this, and congrats to everybody and the expanding family of Mission Log. And thanks for being there. And we'll look forward to seeing where this goes in a couple of weeks, right? It's going to be off. We have next week, and then we're off for a few weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The December 30th is the last aired show. That'll be episode 7. And then not until February 20th, I believe.
Yeah. And the shout out to the sonar and the pattern buffers for all us old people.
Oh, old technology.
That sonar ping made me so happy. I was watching it with Carol. I'm like, wait for it. Boing. I'm like, oh, there it is. Let's go Red October, right? Come on now.
All right. Cheers, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Best to you, Paul. Best to Michelle. All our love. Take care, man.
Same here.
All right. See you, man. Bye. Before we jump into Alan, we are right up there at the that important halfway of the show mark. And we really, really, really want everyone to hear this because you do not want to miss this. Honestly, in my notes, I have this in all caps. Put this on your calendar. So I'd like to take this moment to talk to all of you about Trek Talks, the live stream event telethon to benefit the Hollywood Food Coalition, or as John Billingsley says, HOFOCO.
I love him.
I say that.
Okay, so this will be live streaming on Saturday, January 15th, 2022, presented by Trek Geeks and Roddenberry Entertainment. So the mission of the Hollywood Food Coalition, or HOFOCO, as Billingsley would say, is to feed and serve the immediate needs of the hungry every night of the year so that they can build better lives. Our vision is a city where everyone has food, community, and support. To learn more about Hollywood Food Coalition's mission and vision, please visit their website, hofoco.org. Thank you, John Billingsley. So Trek Talks will be streaming live on Facebook pages and their YouTube page. You can watch and you can comment live just like you do here. Mark your calendars now. You really, really want to be here for this amazing event. Trek stars, fans coming together to help feed the homeless. It doesn't get any more Trek meta than this.
And another reason why you want to be there, because during this whole live stream event, they've already have a list of, incredible Trek celebrities, including, John Billingsley to start. Obviously, for Hofoco, as he loves saying. You're going to have John Delancey. So this is all on their website. This is all on Trek Geeks website. You can go to trekgeeks.com. You can check this out for all the other details. John Delancey, Jonathan Del Arco, Jonathan Frakes. A lot of the
many Johns. See, what did I say? So many Johns.
Gaze McFadden, Robert Picardo, Andrew Robinson, one of my favorites, Armin Shimmerman, Garrett Wong, James Cromwell, Elizabeth Dennehy, Dominic Keating, Chase Masterson, Anthony Montgomery, Adam Nimoy, Denise and Michael Okuda, Linda Park, Tony Todd, Connor Trenier, just to start. So all these guest appearances are, of course, subject to change. So make sure that you keep visiting trekgeeks.com for the latest updates. This is going to be fantastic. The benefits of what they're trying to put together, to feed the homeless, is, like I said, it's just about as Trek as you can get, with actual people in Trek doing it. And you can watch this happen live and support them on January 15th, 2022. That's a great way to start the year, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's jump back into it. So if you need any more of that information, you can visit trekgeeks.com, Hollywood Food Coalition, and then stay tuned, obviously, to Roddenberry Podcast Network for that information as well. Let's jump into it, Alan. End of the year stuff. What do you have to say? You're on the spot.
Hofoco, who wouldn't go? Come on, guys. That's amazing. I'm super excited about that.
I thought you had like a prop. That's a bottle of water. I was so
No,
disappointed. I'm like, what
He's
is
so
that?
excited he needed to
I'm gonna take a
slug of water.
Yeah. Sorry that I was stifling a cough through part of that. So Norm, Holly, I hope that this doesn't quite sound like a broken record, because I feel like every week it's like, every week it's like, this was a good episode. This was the best episode of the season. I feel like for me, this was the best episode of the season.
That's not a bad thing to say, man.
No.
Yeah, so we're going along.
That's a good thing to say.
Exactly.
Each episode is improving in quality, in your opinion. Great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, not just the writing, but for some reason the pace of this one really, really stuck with me. Like there was it felt way more exciting than people stuck in a empty space has any viable right to feel. This it felt like there was a good amount of tension, a good amount of action and back and forth between the cast. You guys mentioned it a little bit earlier, but man, I know we've been talking either here or in the After Dark on Discord about how underserved the cast can be, and how why couldn't Reese be the guy? I think, Norm, this was one of your points, but why couldn't Reese be the guy leading the mission to the prison planet? Well, here, it felt like everybody had at least a part to play. They had a line. Everyone had a line. Owusuka had a little bit that she got to play with. I can't use my, all we know about her is that she can hold her breath joke anymore, because now we know something else. This is great.
Right. She's divulged that little tidbit of information about an experience. So there was great character development in this as well for most of the characters.
I feel like, part of that was just, it sort of was in there to sort of, help establish a nice leadership moment for Saru, but she got to play it. So
right.
These are good things, hopefully we get more of that going forward, because I feel like, seeing everybody on the tree at the end, and it being, it coming at this time of year, the cast of this show are, they're really good, and it really felt like decorating the tree kind of a moment, and it was so awesome to see.
Oh, I like that.
Everyone
Nicely put.
get their moment. So
yeah. Well, Star Trek also, we've said this before on either here or say like on Star Trek Prodigy, that one of the things that Star Trek is, traditionally known for is finding your way into this found family, whether, it's part of the crew or, even outside the crew, when it comes to, say, Gray's case in this situation. Like Gray wanted to be part, or Book, exactly. And they wanted to do something. They feel that they have agency and purpose in protecting the people that they have essentially adopted into their own family, because that's just the situation that they're in. We can all relate to that in one form or another, either from the outside looking in, or being part of the actual cadet fleet that we've all graduated from together. It's just ways of being able to identify that you're not alone, and that there are people out there, or even a computer out there, that understands the human condition and how to be able to be supportive or to be supported. So I think that's really important, that they're actually seeing and addressing a lot of that in so many different ways, aside from just a mentor-mentee relationship. Saru, in this case, he's doubling down on both Book and OO, just in terms of helping them channel that displaced or displaceable anger, because they don't know where to put it. So how do you use it, as Saru did? You temper it, you hone it, you let it become something that you can use as a tool later on to make better decisions when the time is right. And I thought that was like, what? That's a completely different Saru from the angry Saru that we saw originally at the Battle of the Binary Stars, right? So that his character arc is phenomenal. I agree with Paul Harvith on that. I think Saru is a phenomenally written, acted character.
Yeah, I mean, I said it, I was talking last season that Saru was my favorite character on TV of that year. So, I mean, that really hasn't changed too much. And I think going along with that, it was really cool that, everyone had to go into the pattern buffer to save themselves, but they went in as groups. Like, these are the people that you're with, whether it was Saru with OO and Detmer. I think, obviously Gray and Adira went in together.
Book went in with Grudge.
Book and Grudge. And then Nielsen, Bryce, and Reese.
Yeah. Well, I think episodes like this always make me think of a saying that is always used incorrectly. It was even used incorrectly in an episode of Voyager. Janeway said it incorrectly, so a lot of people use it wrong. So the saying is, and everybody knows it, blood is thicker than water. And a lot of people think that blood is family and water is friends, and like family is more important than your friends. The full saying is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. And it means the exact opposite. Blood of the covenant are people that you choose to have in your life. Water of the womb are people who are in your life simply because you happen to be related to them familially. So episodes like this, and like they don't have their families are 900 years in the past. So like, it's not that their family was like toxic and they're choosing to remove them from their life, but this is their found family. This is the blood of the covenant in that saying. And I think that it's important for that sort of representation to be somewhere in our psyche right now, so that people who, I don't know, maybe feel guilty about cutting somebody out of their life who is a toxic family member don't feel so bad, because the people that you choose to have in your life are sometimes more important.
Well said.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we have about one more point here, Alan, to get to, because we have a couple more callers and I would like to fit into the show.
I do have one minor quibble with the episode, and it's a little bit challenging. Well. Yeah, I know. It's a little bit challenging because it is not only was it a major scene, but also the title. I feel like maybe we got Stormy Weather because that was a nod to either Frakes as a director. Well, it would be difficult because I assume that.
Oh, I can tell you.
Oh,
I can
okay.
tell you why that's. I can tell you
Okay.
why I think that song was used.
Gotcha.
So Stormy Weather. Okay, I'm going to go on a trivia thing, you guys. So Stormy Weather was written in 1933. And then it's obviously been performed by a lot of singers, but most notably it was by Lena Horne. She sang it in Stormy Weather, the movie, in 1943. And then there's an album that she sang it on in 1957 when it also was called Stormy Weather. Lena Horne was the grandmother of Star Trek Discovery writer producer Jenny Lumet.
Ah, okay.
So there's a family. I don't know if that's the
There you
reason
go.
why, but it's an interesting tidbit that maybe played into that song being used.
I thank you. That clears. That certainly is a perfectly viable theory. It clears up my thing because I was like, this has to be somebody's favorite song, or somebody has a special connection to this song. So I feel a little bit bad about what I'm about to say, but if I were to pick a song to have someone sing to me to ease my anxiety and make me feel any better,
it would not be that.
Lyrically, that's not the song I would pick. I mean, I would go, honestly, it's corny as hell, but Tomorrow from Annie stuck out, Rainbow Connection, something like that.
No, you can't do Rainbow Connection. That's the Orville song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I got to get to Mike because Mike's been waiting. All right.
So I'll pass the mic to Mike, and have a good night, everybody.
Hey, have a happy New Year there,
Yep,
Alan.
you too.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See, Mike, I gave you props, man. That's that's Kermit's song. That's the Orville song.
That was a great segue. Thank you, Alan, for that. And it's always tough to
Thank you, Alan, for that. Thank you, me, for that. Come on.
Well, he did bring up Rainbow Connection, and then you made the connection. So it was much like this episode of Discovery that I loved. You really got to see the crew come together and gel as a crew, which was so nice to see. Yeah. But you got to see Gray put the best interests of Zora kind of ahead of themselves, when they really dug into what was going on and tried to use their own tools, their own experience as a guardian in training to heal them and make the computer feel better and work better for the good of everybody. And we had something that's always near and dear to my heart, which is that topic of trust and vulnerability that book had with his dad, which, again, left open to interpretation, dad in the afterlife or just dad in his head. Yeah. But when he said trust and vulnerability in somebody that you love is not a weakness, it's a strength.
This is one of the quotes that's in my notes. It's not a weakness to trust someone you love. It's a strength.
Absolutely it is. And I think we saw the entire crew start to trust each other more and more with input that was given, sometimes solicited, other times unsolicited, but somebody on the bridge at times had the answer and felt that they had the agency to speak up and offer a solution. Sometimes it was asked for, like Detmer when she was given the math. And what do you think, that was Detmer math, or you think that was like partial
I don't know.
Math? I don't know either.
Doesn't matter either.
Math,
right? I mean, even when Data would do it, I know he's an android, and I would still be like, "Whoa!" Like, it's impressive. I can't do math that fast.
I think it was Detmer math. I think her implant is to kind of like help her with her eye, and the math was all her, because I think she's a brilliant, talented helmsman.
Yeah.
But that's up to the viewer to decide. But we saw all these folks come together and operate really as a crew. We saw two very talented, very capable captains do the job in two different ways. We had Burnham that seemed to be taking on the role more of collaborator and team building and asking questions and getting input from the crew. And we had Saru, who led slightly more in a top-down manner and gave a great speech, a great empowering, motivational speech to the people when he was in charge of the bridge for that period of time. I really did. I liked seeing this crew come together, and like seeing that input that everybody's able to give, and the trust that they're all able to show, because leadership is all about trust. And to think that it's a one-person show, a top-down thing, you're missing out all of the input and all the creativity and all the answers that people on your team may have if you don't empower them to speak up and do that. And the other thing I loved about the show was the connection to Calypso, which I think is, there were so many good short treks. Hopefully we'll get to see more of them. But that was definitely one of my favorites. So I'd like to, any kind of thoughts from the two of you on where, unless you covered it already, I apologize, where that fits into this episode. And
honestly, I'd have to watch it again because I just don't remember it that well.
I mean, I feel like I'd like to think that they were planning way ahead and that they produced Calypso to set this up. I genuinely don't think that that's the case, though. I think that Calypso gave them an excuse to sort of use, and I'm not saying that that's like a bad thing. I'm glad that they were given that sort of material. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see like where this goes and how those two connect eventually.
Yeah,
she's a great character. Like I don't think we've really ever had a sentient computer to this level in terms of like learning and emotion and admitting that she's scared. And
exactly right. So I think if you're going to be helpful, like Zora was, it's great, and you get to live. If you're going to be a practical joker, like the Enterprise 01 in the animated series was, then they're going to shut you down. So that's kind of the moral of this story. But hey, you guys have 2 more callers this week, and if you don't mind, I know Mission Log is taking a week off. We've got 2 episodes of Mission Log the Orville dropping this week. So nice. Firestorm and New Dimensions are going to drop on Wednesday and Friday.
Oh, good. That's an Alara episode. All the Alara episodes are amazing.
To fill the void.
To fill the void.
Fill the void. Well said, Mike. Well said.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Make sure that you listen to Mike and Jessica Lynn Verdi on Mission Log the Orville. You can find them on our YouTube channel on Roddenberry Entertainment. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, all that fun stuff. You can also find the audio version on the Roddenberry Podcast Network on podcast.roddenberry.com. Sound good, Mike?
That sounds great. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yes, you can. Yes, you could. All right, but I said it, and I love listening to your voice as well, and Jessica Lynn's. So Happy New Year, my friend. Cap.
Happy New Year to you too. Thanks so much.
All right, take care. All right. Good to have Dave here. Hey, Dave, how you doing? Are you wearing a flux capacitor?
That looks like that's what that is.
Yeah.
Is it a flux capacitor? Yay! And you're in San Francisco.
Sure, why not? That's just my default.
Yeah.
I've never changed it.
Happy after Christmas and almost New Year's, man. How you doing?
Very much. I'm good.
Yeah. What'd you think of the episode?
Like has been said, I really loved the tie-in with Red October, the sonar. I really loved the pattern buffer. I mean, I think we all were excited to see those come back. One of my issues is I know it's an interesting idea to have a sentient computer, but when I'm having issues, I really don't want my computer to be having meltdowns.
Scared? Yeah, I mean, that's
I mean,
fair.
I kind of want my computer to be reliable and not be, I don't know what to do. Yeah, that's not the greatest time.
Yeah, but just think, you get that computer through it, and then you build up that trust, and then you have a really super computer.
I mean, there's definitely benefits. There's just a lot of questions and concerns going forward.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I ultimately feel like having a computer that is, for lack of a better way to put it, emotionally attached to you because they actually have like a relationship with you. She's more motivated to keep you alive.
Which she definitely seems to be going that route, which is
yes.
good.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Like, you don't want a utility or a tool that you can depend on
to freeze up,
because then you're in big trouble. So yeah, it could. I think it's interesting just from the standpoint of a new way of trying to tell a story. Yeah, practically, yes. You don't want you don't want a Windows 11 to start failing on you when right in the middle of a spreadsheet, obviously. But this is I think we're in like new territory here. You know,
my name being Dave, I'm very tied to 2001.
Yes.
And I know HAL does not treat the crew very well. So that's always...
No. And you should wear that. That should be like the shirt that you wear. You should wear a HAL.
I do
Morning,
have
Dave.
I do have a couple of those. My long time ago, my startup menu or on my computer said "Good morning, Dave."
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So, quick story about that. I used to work for a company. It was after Hollywood Video went out of business. It was a new version of renting movies. It did not last for very long. And I was only there for about 6 months, but it was automated and we had robots that would go retrieve the movies and drop them down into like ATM chutes where people were like ordering their stuff. And every single robot had a different name, and our very first one was Hal. And when we booted up his computer, it said "Good morning."
Oh, fun.
Crazy.
No, we were always trying to think of different, like every time that we opened up a new store and had a new robot, we'd be like, what are we going to call this one? At some point we got to a data because I was like, we have to have
Nice.
Star Trek.
Well, yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
My only other thing I've been watching is I've been concerned that book would go dark or go evil or just not go down a dark path or go down a dark path. And it seems like with this one, he's kind of finding his way back. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, I think it's probably what's been helping him with that is talking to Culber as well.
Yeah, I did have those concerns that he was going to, like I said, go down a dark path and become a
villain?
problem for the crew
Yeah.
instead of the help. So
I think he's a little bit too beloved. If you think about, like Valeris in Star Trek 6 was originally supposed to be Saavik, and they decided against it because Saavik was already too beloved by the fans. So I don't really see them suddenly making Book a bad guy.
Yeah, which I am grateful for. I was a little concerned. He was getting a little dark, a little moody, which, your planet being blown up can tend to, make you a little upset.
I think it's understandable. I mean, I've never seen that happen, but I
No.
would be upset.
No, but
Slightly.
but it was good to see him have that time, and I hopefully he's able to progress and continue on.
I think that when the time is right, like Saru is saying, when the time is right, having been able to harness, that inner rage will service him or service a storyline probably towards the end of the season where it matters most. I think that'll come back.
I feel like it's
storytelling point.
that's gonna come to a head at some point. It's gonna be like peak storyline.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Very good.
So.
Cool. Well, thanks for calling in, Dave. It's great to see you. Great to have you on the show, and hope you had a great Christmas. And here's to 2022.
Going forward.
All right. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. And
Bye.
love the T-shirt. All right. I think we have our last caller for tonight, and I haven't seen you in a while. So hello, Sherry.
Hey, Norm.
How are you?
The last time she was on, it was me and John, so you missed her.
I'm sorry, Norm.
That's okay. I know that you like being part of the show. I can't blame you for that. I like being part of the show too, but I'm glad to have you on, and hope you had a great Christmas if you celebrated Christmas. And let's talk about the episode. What about this episode did you like or dislike?
Well, I was going to agree with Holly. I had the same reaction with the screaming robot friend.
I think why do I cry over the stupidest stuff?
They set us up though, because like last season, that was where Zora was. Like,
yeah.
And he was like, well, it was screaming. So are you trying to tell us that something really did die? Like, why are you telling us?
And I didn't want to take anything away from Adira, because that's the line, that was Adira's line, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was hearing it in Tilly's voice. Right? Because Tilly would have been she was like, is it crying?
Yeah, Tilly would have been
screaming?
upset too. Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah,
strange. Yeah. It also made me sad because I'm like, no, I don't want little bitty things. And what are you gonna do? Send out more so they also can get disintegrated and cry?
But I'm also very much like, anytime there's danger, I'm like, where's the cat? Get the cat. Somebody save the cat. Even this episode, I was like, get the cat.
Grudge was pretty chill, though. I feel like it cracked me up when I saw Book carrying him around in the big cat carrier at one point. I'm like, oh, that's funny.
We're going to get transported into ones and zeros. It's not going to be fun.
The cat doesn't know what the heck's going on. That's why it's sad, because if the cat dies, the cat has no idea what's going on. Like, it makes me sad.
I feel like Grudge knows what's going on. I feel like Grudge is large enough to have a big enough brain that Grudge knows
to be aware.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we don't know much about. I mean, I still feel like we don't know much about that cat. Like, she's a queen. I'm like, is she? Can we learn more about the cat? There's going to be. This is a good segue, and I did not even pay for this. IDW is going to be doing some kind of Discovery one-offs, and one of them is going to be about Grudge.
Oh, that'd be cool.
To give Aaron Harvey credit, we did see some of his original artwork online.
We did. We saw a cover and a variant cover, and they're lovely, and it's nice artwork. So I hope that the storylines are fun to match.
Yeah.
Hey, Sherry. So did you think like Alan? You think like are these episodes getting better and better and better for you? I mean, I haven't talked to you in a while. So how are you about this season?
I really liked this episode, even though there were definitely parts that I was like, that I didn't like. But I feel like that's always the case with Discovery. I said when I was on earlier that I just kind of feel like I love Discovery like you love a sibling. Like if like somebody else talks trash about them, like you can get mad at them, but like you can complain about them because they're your sibling.
Yeah, there's a certain law of diminishing returns when it comes to like, not blood family, water family, right?
Yeah, water of the womb is
right.
family that you happen
biological
to be
family.
Biological, right. Yes.
Yeah.
But yes.
Somebody in the chat said that they didn't know that. So look at me spreading.
But that was me.
Dropping the knowledge bomb.
Oh, was it you? I was like, yeah.
I did not know that. So thank you for that. Yeah, I've never known that.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't. I mean, even when they were writing Voyager, they didn't know that because Janeway says it. And every time that episode, she's talking to Seven in her ready room, and I'm like, no, that's wrong.
Yeah, it's been kind of like amalgamated, right, over time.
Yeah, it's amalgamated into the wrong thing.
But Holly got you all back on track, so can't say that you didn't get a gift.
I wanted to agree with you, Norman, that I also
really?
Saru,
Okay.
when Saru, yes,
Right.
when Saru was talking about like how like he still felt angry. That was probably one of the most impactful things I've ever seen in Star Trek for me personally. Just like I feel like it was something that I needed to hear at exactly the time I needed to hear it. Like that he still felt angry, but like he needed to move forward. And I feel like too much in society, people focus on like seeing the anger as the problem. Like you've gone to the dark side. The anger is the problem because you felt anger. You're the problem and you need to get rid of that anger. Mm-hmm. And I love that he just validated the anger for both him and Book. But he's like, but if we sit there and focus on it, then we're not going to be able to move forward. And we're not going to be able to do what's best for everybody else. And like, I felt like that's a really important takeaway. And I really liked that over just like, you shouldn't feel anger. Or
yeah,
like,
you shouldn't.
You should stop feeling anger, and that's bad.
And again, that goes back to, the ongoing conversation about vulnerability, and we have ongoing conversations in this season about grief, and they're doing a really good job of having these ongoing themes and continuing the conversation, but in sort of different aspects for each storyline.
And there's also
I also think they're doing a really good job at representation, because I don't know if anybody noticed, but there's a scene in this episode where it's 4 Black actors.
I know it is, which is awesome.
And like, to be fair, like Stamets is sort of in the background and he comes in later, but having 4 Black actors, I don't know if that's ever happened in Star Trek. One of them is also openly gay. So I was like, I am great. This is fantastic. I'm so glad that they did that.
I mean, to tie in also with what Saru was saying, like going back to Burnham's quote, you're seeing a lot of kind of growth with her, because from the Kobayashi Maru to now, she's starting to accept that you can't control everything. You can only succeed with the talent that you have to work with and the situation that presents itself to you. So how do you win? You can't win all the time. You can marginally win, or you can try and salvage an unsalvageable situation, right? And that's considered a victory. But being able to do right by everyone 100% of the time, I mean, that's what Zora is feeling. The computer is feeling that vulnerability, because as a computer, I should be able to do that, but you can't. So what happens when you come in conflict with that? Well, you become angry because you can't. And and we all have, had those daydream moments where we're kind of like stewing in our own anger. And that's absolutely counterproductive because it goes nowhere, right? You hit the same walls, as she said, over and over and over again, or you freeze up because you're too angry to think constructively. I wouldn't say logically all the time, because that doesn't even work. Also, you have to think constructively. How do you get yourself out of this emotional box? How do you move forward? How do you make these? And then also, how do you use it at the right time? I still think that this lesson from Saru is going to come back and help Book where Book needs it most.
And I had written down that Michael quote as well, like when she's talking to Zora, what you were just saying, because that was also just really meaningful to me. I really liked that quote as well. But I was thinking from when Dave was talking earlier about, like, for me, like, it would be less concerning that Zora would like kind of have a meltdown and just wouldn't be able to do something, and more concerning that, although interesting, if she decided she didn't want to do something. Like if they order her to do something and she's like, no, I don't agree. Because the more sentient she becomes, at some point she could be like, I think you're wrong.
She can disagree with you.
A belligerent computer that controls all of your systems also would be on the bad side of the equation.
Well, I don't even necessarily think that she could be belligerent, but she is like, it doesn't seem in her character to be belligerent, but I can definitely see her putting her foot down at some point and being like, you're wrong. And I can't do this. I can't.
With emotions come opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe Saru will have to counsel Zora as he counseled Oa, because Oa was, she was getting angry. So
I did want to throw in, though, like, both with Oa and Reese, like, I get that they're trying to do character development, and I do want them to go in that direction for the other bridge crew members. However, I don't like how they're doing it. It feels very insert character development here, like one line, and it also like is always at like a crisis time in which, like, is that really when you would be sharing that piece of information? It feels like you would maybe say that after we're done with this. Is this the right time? Yeah. And I liked how they did it in season 3 kind of more than I do like how they're doing it now. Because in season 3, I liked that like kind of like contentious like dinner that they had. Like Saru was trying to get them together, and they're all like grumpy and stuff. Because I feel like the character development as the crew should be done as the crew, how they interact with each other, and they're kind of trying to like take each person out. And I think that can work if you did a little bit better job of like integrating them first, but I don't think they've done that quite yet. So I would like to see more of them together and how they interact together.
As would I. And unfortunately, I hate to cut you off, but we have hit our time limit. And I'm glad that you were with us at the end, because I wanted to say Happy New Year to you, and I hope you have fun stuff planned for 2022. Thank you so much. And thank you for calling in. Always great to see you.
Happy New Year, Holly.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Says Happy New Year as well.
All right. Oh, great t-shirt. It's a Cerritos shirt. I love those.
Yes.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for our show. This is the last show, the last live show of 2021. And I'm so fortunate to be here with all of you, to be here with you, Holly. It's been such a fantastic back-to-back series of shows. This is the first time I've done that, I think, with you during the course of doing Discovery. So any last words or any last thoughts before we have to say goodbye to our wonderful audience?
Happy New Year, and I love Trekkies.
You do, don't you?
I do love Trekkies. I have a whole shirt that says it.
With a heart. Not even the word love.
I think this is from
heart itself.
I'm pretty sure this is from Star Trek: The Experience.
We're actually having a conversation in shirts, because yours says I love Trekkies and mine says indeed.
Yeah, I mean, we're wearing pretty awesome shirts. But no, in all seriousness, thank you everybody who joins us live and later. Appreciate your support. And everybody has a nice New Year's Eve.
There's a lot of concern out there, so make sure that when you're out there, out and about and celebrating the holidays, make sure that you do your due diligence and be aware and understand your situation, and stay safe and stay happy. And I just want to let you all in. This is the last of 2020. I'm actually going to say this particular script. Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment, executive producer Rod Roddenberry. Technical production on Mission Log and Mission Log Live provided by our very own sonar engineer and host of The Green Room, Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from Roddenberry Podcasts. If you'd like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look at patreon.com/Mission Log. Special thanks to my co-host, Holly, who have a fabulous time with every single time that we're on the air. Happy New Year, Holly. And hope you have a fantastic start to 2022. And thanks to everyone who joined us here live or will join us later. We'll be off until we're back on. Have a happy new year. And we look forward to talking with you in 2022.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.